Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk, the horror movie podcast where two schlubby guys talk about spoopy movies with your hosts Bryce Hanson, the cool collected nihilist, and David Day, an angry man who is always right. This podcast is for lovers of horror movies, new and old, that want to hear about what's in theaters, what's streaming, fresh takes on old classics, and terrible horror movies that are bad enough to be good. I'm your host, David Day.
And I'm Bryce Hanson.
And today we're talking about Dead Night. Ooh, buddy.
Probably definitely falls into the latter.
Yeah.
Bad enough to be good.
Whoa, buddy. Rough.
We don't need to get into this with them.
Get into what?
Your mom's trying to cure me.
It's just a vacation. Thank you for doing this. And you don't really want to be here.
Maybe it'll work.
Do you think that's the cabin that we're in?
Yeah, looks like it.
Snow's starting to come down, and it's going to be heavy out there tonight, so be careful.
I was born and raised in these woods. I'll be just fine.
Casey, help! Casey, help!
What do you want me to do?
Just do it! She's awake.
What's your name?
Leslie Bison.
Dark Horse Leslie Bison.
Leslie, I'm gonna go down and get you some help.
Sure.
Where did you say you were renting again?
I didn't. I'm not a renter.
If things had been different, you could have joined us. You certainly have the stomach for it.
Stomach for what?
What's coming next?
I'm gonna kill you for this.
No, you're not, dear.
Oh, I'm not a renter. So before we go on, I'd just like to thank everybody who's given us some feedback so far. Hi, Mom and Dad, and please check us out on our website horrormovietalk.com. Like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher.
Yeah, go to our website. We have a page that is a subscribe page. It should have all of the podcasting platforms that you can subscribe on. I know we're on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify if you search for us.
Yeah, Google Play is pending, so we'll be there shortly.
And TuneIn is pending. TuneIn Radio is pending, if you even know what that is.
I don't have any idea what that is. So first of all, I'd just like to just quickly address the trailer, which you should watch, and this is a good reason why we play the trailer on this podcast, because that trailer is pro grade. That trailer, it's much
better than it has any business.
Better than
being.
But certainly better than the movie by a wide margin.
Right.
So check out the trailer because because to be honest with you, it's the best part of this movie.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and open. I've already written some stuff about this movie, and I'm just gonna give you guys a quick rundown of the synopsis of this, of my synopsis of this movie.
Yeah, why don't we give a spoiler of what our actual review is? For it, like scale of 1 to 10.
I'm gonna say this is real strong 2. Real strong.
Yeah.
A hard 2.
I'm being very generous just because of my proclivities, and I'd say it's a 3 maximum. Like on my scale, like 1 is just an absolute dredge to watch, like so bad you can't even make light of it. It's just miserable to sit through. Like even if you're watching it with friends that were drunk, it would just be like, why are we doing this? What has my life come to? That's 1.
Yeah.
And so 2 is slightly better than that. I'd say this is a 3 for me.
To be fair, I think you had a fair amount of like Schadenfreude on that, because you seem to be having a good time just watching how fucking miserable I was. Just like, I want to kill myself watching this dumb movie, wasting an hour and 20 minutes on this.
Longest hour and 20 minutes.
It was so
Anyways, why don't you give a synopsis of the setup of the movie? It doesn't really come across on the audio of the trailer.
So the movie starts out showing... So this is almost a moot point, but the movie starts out showing a couple making out in a convertible in the woods in what's said to be 1961. The young lady hears something, and of course the young man goes to check it out. A horrifying figure makes swift work of them both. An alien-looking monolith is in the shot for a moment, and we're all kind of left wondering. Cut to 2015, the Pollock family is on a trip for rest and relaxation, but more importantly because James, the dad, has something incurable, and his wife, Casey, has it on good authority that their vacation rental was built on restorative minerals. Their son Jason and daughter Jessica are less than enthusiastic to be going on the vacation. Jessica has her friend Becky along for the ride, and Jason and Becky clearly have a little bit of a crush on each other that turns out to be none of these points that really end up mattering too much. So don't think about it.
Yeah,
it's the family gets to the cabin and begins to get ready for their stay. And at this point in the movie, the framing, dialogue, and lighting are all done well. So well, in fact, that it tricked me into believing this was going to be great. It has plenty of artsy shots on the cabin, surrounding woods, and the last little bit that all these shots kind of last a little bit too long and are sometimes like indicative of that you would think would be indicative of hints at later plot points. As the movie progresses, I began to realize that those artsy shots were kind of for naught. The husband heads out of the cabin to find some firewood and eventually stumbles upon Leslie Bison, who is pretending to be passed out in the snow and ends up being the antagonist of the movie. At the point that he finds her, a switch flips in this movie, and it enters like a mid-90s made-for-TV sci-fi channel vibe. Like, for brevity's sake, the quick and dirty rundown of the second and final act is, it turns out that a coven of witches don't like the way things are going in this part of Oregon, so they decide to give Leslie...
Hey, we should say spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. So they decided to give Leslie Bison, who is running for some office that I don't really recall, like governor or something like that, some powers. These witches give her powers in hopes that she would take the election and sway the future in their favor. The powers that Leslie has bestowed upon her are control over an alien monolith that produces rocks that zombify people when applied to their body, the ability to teleport, the ability to induce hallucinations, and other things, ? Casey, the mother, doesn't like that Leslie is zombifying her family, so she tries to fight back but ends up killing most of her zombie family with an axe at the behest of the witches. And she met with the witches. The mother met with the witches, and they told her that the only way to make this stop was to kill her own family. So she does. Some minor... and how does that make it stop? I mean, I guess it does make it stop.
No, she has to get the sacred stones or whatever. What was
but
it
it
called?
Didn't make it stop. I mean, it made it stop in that her family was dead. Things were done for her.
Yeah. God, what did they call those stones?
Casey, so there were some minor explanations made using a crime scene investigation show that pops up throughout the movie kind of intermittently and without any real reason, that is being watched in the woods on a TV, on a tube TV by some witches.
If you're confused by this synopsis, this is much, much more organized than what the actual film is.
Oh yeah.
Like this this is all
this
like
is hard sleuthing.
A lot of this is conjecture. Like of what the plot actually is, cuz like Leslie Bison has random powers like she's a ghost.
Yeah. So she'll,
but it's never explained why. Other than her association with the witches, the ladies that say like, he used to call us witches. Maybe it's like, all right, so it's coven of. Should we call them that? I don't know.
Yeah, the mom will be like driving in her car, and then
she drives straight at Leslie Bison.
Leslie Bison will show up in the middle of the road, and Casey's mom will be like, "Oh no, I'm gonna hit!" And then she'll slam on the brakes, and she'll just evaporate.
Yeah. Well, no, she'll go through the. Yeah, she'll
like
disappear.
Drive, yeah,
and then she'll be behind
through her and like
be
like. Okay.
And then you're like, wow, that's interesting. I wonder how they're going to explain that.
And you're just as confused as the character who did something supernatural, because it doesn't make any more sense to you than it did to them.
And the explanation is it's a movie and they wanted to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so what the one thing that this movie kind of had going for it was Barbara Crampton is in it.
Yeah, I don't even recognize. I slightly recognize her. She obviously looks like she knows what she's doing.
She's from like Reanimator, and she's coming up in another remake here soon. I'll try and find out what it is before the ending of this whole thing. But she's she's a horror movie. She's been in a lot of horror movies.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, how we found this movie, like, we're looking for new releases, and just for the record, looking for new releases on Fandango is worthless because they put up movies like this as going to be released on the 24th of July, 2018, but it was actually released 2017. It's just released to streaming on that day.
Yeah, it got picked up by Amazon. So
I don't even know if it was ever. I can't imagine this was actually in theaters. It must have gone.
It went to
some
like
some
festival
circuit surveys.
Jesus. Good Lord.
Anyway, so yeah, what type of movie would you call this? Like, if you were to classify.
It's kind of weird because, I mean, like I said, like the closest thing, like the thing that it really brings back memories of is watching TV in the middle of the day on a weekday in the summer on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's just like you find yourself on a weekday and it's 11 in the morning. And you're eating, you're eating your cereal because you just woke up because you stayed up real late watching terrible movies, and then you turn on the TV and you go, oh, there's some thing on Sci-Fi, some crappy thing on Sci-Fi. I wonder if it's any good. And of course it's not. And you get there and it's bad from start to finish. The only difference with this movie for me was that at the start, they like had a bunch of good footage. Like it was very misleading. It had like kind of clever quips and like, like I said, like the film, the framing, the lighting, all of it looked pretty good. And it was shot in high def. It looked pretty. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, it's not a bad movie. This is going to be a good movie. And then the switch flips, once the action hits, and it just goes full Sci-Fi Channel. And just totally off the rails. Didn't make a lick of sense. Yeah. It was like all those dime a dozen horror movies in the 80s and 90s, and I mean apparently still now. Like I did not know that they still made these movies.
Right. I mean the setup, the first half of the movie where it's just setting up the family, and they find Leslie Bison passed out in the snow, is like super effective. It creates this mystery that's like. Where did she come from? What's her motives?
Where'd she go?
She acts strange. You're like, what's up with this person? And then they never like really explore that or give a real explanation. They just show a bunch of kooky stuff happening.
Wacky.
Wacky.
Yeah.
Like, it's a full grab bag of just weird horror tropes that aren't connected and never explained.
The monolith looked like a big pile of poop.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bit like, remember in Jurassic Park, the poop scene in Jurassic Park where they're like, oh, the Triceratops and he's sick. Oh, it's because he's eating the berries. How'd you know that? Well, I dug into this 18-foot pile of shit.
Yeah, it's like, so if the Triceratops pile of shit was sculpted by Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters of the Third Kind into a very, very tall sculpture of Devil's Peak.
Or also it could be like one of those sculptures that the mom in Beetlejuice did. It was pretty indicative of that.
Yeah, with tentacle stuff coming out and
goopy, like.
And throughout the movie, they're kind of reaching out and cutting off little tentacles and bits from it, and they're like, okay. And then they shove them into people's skulls and stuff, and that does something.
Yeah, they just kind of like touch them to you, to the back, the nape of your neck, and they're like, take some of this! And
I mean, it's not
like,
super...
Oh, I'm a zombie now.
Yeah, it's not super consistent because they shove it into a cut in someone's neck and it makes them a zombie.
It can be a bunch of
different ways. They shove it in their... They make them swallow it, and then it makes them...
It's a suppository.
Something.
It's a, it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It can be applied directly to the forehead.
To me, this reminded me full on of when I was in middle school renting straight to VHS movies made by Full Moon Productions in Hollywood Video. Like Hollywood Video straight to video
trauma
horror studio. And it makes just about as much sense. The script, I'm sure, was written in about 2 hours before the filming started.
Yeah.
But it's super deceptive because it's shot in digital high def, so it doesn't look like shitty VHS.
It doesn't look like Tommy Knockers, but it is. It is Tommy Knockers.
Oh, man. Tommy Knockers has got to be far and above better than this.
Langoliers, then.
Langoliers. Oof. No, even I enjoyed Langoliers.
What?
Yeah, man.
Made for TV.
The little things that came and ate
the walnuts that ate the past and the future.
And Balky.
And Balky?
I'm going insane.
What?
You remember Balky from Perfect Strangers?
No.
He was the guy that went insane and was tearing the paper.
Okay. I'm not going to go back and watch Langoliers to like figure this out.
I might have to pull up a YouTube clip of Balky.
Problem with Langoliers is it was like 4 hours long.
Right.
Oh.
It was like they came off of The Stand and they're like, hey, this worked out really well. Like, did you watch The Stand?
Yeah.
The miniseries?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was good.
Miniseries. Yeah. And then they did Langoliers and I was like, all on board. It's like, oh, wait. What?
You were all on board? Oh, you were all on board like at the beginning, and then you were like, oh, what?
Right, and then it's just like, okay, whatever. Anyways, enough of Langoliers.
So
for me, it was
back to Langoliers though. I'm just saying, I saw an article today about it. The second part of it is coming along quite nicely.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's all I got on that. What?
All right.
What?
Thanks for keeping us surprised.
Things that. So, what are some things that make this this movie terrible for you?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that didn't make any sense.
And that makes it terrible?
From the very beginning, just it looked like someone was thinking, what would be creepy at this moment? And they just decided to do that as opposed to like, what is this movie about? So just a grab bag of things that I noticed that were never explained. So in the beginning, with the couple in the car in the 60s with the January Jones lookalike, there was a shot of a very, very creepy clown face in the background.
Yeah.
And there's no...
It was effective, too.
I mean,
I was like, oh, shit.
It was definitely a clown, right?
I guess. I mean, it was really clowny.
Right.
But
and then there's no creepy clowns anywhere else in the movie.
Right. There was some
and then there's a Scarecrow from Batman Begins.
Oh yeah,
was in it.
Yeah, plenty of burlap sacks on heads. Lots of that.
And that's like, I guess, one of the old ladies, but also maybe a monster. I wasn't super sure about that.
So, wait. Oh, you know what actually happened at the start?
What?
She got pregnant.
Right.
I forgot all about that. She got so at the start in 1961, they killed the dude. They didn't dispatch both the lovers. They killed the dude and they kidnapped the girl and they brought her back into the woods and then they impregnated her. So they didn't show that part, but you know, she was pregnant. And there was she was pregnant in the woods and there was
Damn it, it didn't work.
She was pregnant in the woods, and then she gave birth to some hideous thing. And, so...
Damn it. This is not working at all.
We'll try it another
Ignore
time.
me.
Ignore the man behind the curtain. Anyway, so I think that the baby that they birthed, that was the thing that was... Wait. Was there something running around in the woods? Yeah. So then there was a bad guy running around in the woods, like doing the behest of Leslie Bison. And I think that was supposed to be the baby that was born at the start of the movie, ?
Yeah, it's not really clear at all. You assume that that's what it is, but never is actually said.
Yeah. What else makes this movie terrible?
Just random lingering shots of just nothing.
Yeah.
And it makes the movie feel super slow. It just slows things down for no reason. I almost wonder if they wanted the first part of the movie, which they knew was good, to last longer than the last part. They're like, maybe we can just not leave this great setup. They were literally doing long, lingering shots of spoons being put in the drawer.
Yeah, there was like a long shot of a tumbler. Oh, and then when Leslie Bison takes a drink of milk, they're like, let's look at that. Let's look at her throat drink that milk. It's like, oh, God. What? I know this is a horror movie, but Jesus Christ, have some compassion for the viewer.
Okay, I think I figured it out.
Oh.
Go back to the part where you're talking about the baby.
There was a baby.
They're chasing the baby? There was a baby?
I didn't say that.
I've been waiting 2 episodes to use these drops, and they didn't work.
That was the shortest wait anyone's ever had to wait to use a drop. I hope
there was a baby?
I hope we get a decent drop catalog.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to doing drops well.
Right. We're not there yet.
Not there
We're still
yet.
working on it.
There was a baby?
They're chasing the baby?
All right.
Anyways, okay. Just things that just were careless, like the snow that was there and then not there. It just felt so long. It was only 120 minutes, and it felt like was it 120 minutes or was it 110 minutes?
You mentioned, and I think there's some truth to this, that I think in order to be considered
no, it wasn't 120 minutes. It was 80 minutes. It was 1 hour and 20 minutes was what it was.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
that's what
I think there's like a cutoff for how long a movie has to be considered a feature length film, and they were milking some of those shots to get a couple extra seconds.
Give me 5 more seconds of that cup, damn it.
We need a second milk pour.
Yeah, they did do a second milk pour. There were 2 intense milk pours and then milk drinks. Close-ups on throat swallowing milk. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, I think just the things that didn't work was everything. Everything altogether didn't work. There's no connecting tissue. But it was like if an alien tried to piece together a horror movie
you're like, okay, you got to scare people.
Right.
You don't know anything about people.
You don't know why these things scare people.
You don't know
but
why
if you use them in this fashion,
right,
and reveal these things at this moment, they'll be off-putting.
Right. Yeah, but then then the alien puts it together in entirely the wrong context, and it's completely confusing.
Right.
The thing that, like, I was so confused by the part where Casey, the mom, went to the woods. I mean, I was confused by the whole damn movie, but it was so aggravating that this got through a bunch of people looked at this, read it, acted it out in front of cameras, stood around drinking coffee, taking craft services, like being like, yeah, okay, let's do the scene where Casey kills her whole family to get some normalcy back in her life. It's like, what the fuck was that? How did that make any sense? How did any of this pass?
She had to get stone fragments by killing her family and taking the stones out of them.
How was that better than not having? How is having stone fragments better than having your family?
Well, I mean, granted, at the time, her family was zombies at that time. So,
I mean, obviously, having stone fragments is better than having your family. But I mean, to Casey.
All right. So, did anything work on the movie?
Yeah.
Is there anything you liked?
Yeah. So, first of all, the poster was awesome. It's a solid poster. It's a solid trailer. In fact, the trailer is better than either of the other movies that we watched. The trailers for either of the other movies that we watched, and so far, and the whole start, like the lead up to the it's a perfect cabin in the woods intro. Like they're driving and they're getting there. Oh, and the starting scene with the with the lady in the wood with the couple making out in the woods, that works really well. The first dude, the clown dude in the woods, that was spoopy. Like I wasn't feeling good about any of that. And then the pregnancy and her being strapped down and having a baby.
There was a baby?
There was a baby.
They're chasing the baby?
They didn't actually chase the baby.
Oh, they didn't?
No, they didn't. Not in this movie. To my knowledge, they might have. But anyway, all that starting stuff worked really, really well. And the only parts that didn't in the start were they did those lingering shots.
Yeah.
But they kind of did at the time, like until you realized they were just to stretch the good part of the movie out before you got to the garbage part of the movie.
Yeah. I think the crime show device they just randomly showed, like this video of a crime show, just your generic true crime.
It was as if the movie turned into a crime show all of a sudden.
Well, yeah, it was. And it slowly revealed that they're talking about this family and that the mother, actually pretty soon in the movie, it shows this crime show describing the mother killing the entire family and getting convicted of murder, and that she was this insane person while you're watching it, and they're just, a loving family.
Yeah.
And
it gives away the movie way too early. Well, but
yeah, and then it's never mentioned anything about Leslie Bison or anyone else being there. And then it shows like a campaign ad for Leslie Bison, and it's also incongruous about what you know about the character, because when she's with the family, she's super rude and bitchy and weird and inappropriate. Yeah,
she's all controlling. She's like, here, take this stone fragment and turn into a zombie. It's
right.
Like way out of control. It's like, Leslie, chill out.
Right.
God damn.
And then in the campaign ad, she's super pious and is running on basically morality.
Yeah.
Just lots of dog whistling of...
What are you talking about? That makes perfect sense.
We're running on belief.
She's a politician.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but... Well, yeah. Are you saying that politicians aren't consistent?
I mean, I know it's not maybe it's not the most popular opinion, but I would say that politicians are inconsistent liars across the board.
So it shows this crime show, and it's obviously from the future. And you're like, all right, well, I guess they're playing around with the timeline of the storytelling or the continuity, what do they call it? What would someone that went to film school call that?
The timeline?
Yeah, the timeline.
Yeah, they were kind of they're revealing parts yet to be shown.
Non-linear storytelling.
There you go. Look at you with your $5 words.
Non-linear. I mean, my hyphenated words. So then it's revealed at the end that no, this crime TV... Oh, yeah, because it pans back and it shows the crime show on a TV, playing on a TV in the woods that's plugged into the poop pile.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff plugged into that poop pile. Like, it's a lot. There's a lot going on with that poop.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, wait, they're watching it in the woods, and then it's like, so is this not cutting forward to the TV show, or is it actually showing? The answer is that the witches in the woods plug the TV into the poop pile, and it shows them the future.
There you go. Instead
of crystal balls, they get,
crystal
true
farts.
crime shows.
Crystal brain.
They get Dateline from the future. Oh, wait.
It's a very frustrating. What are you doing?
Hold on.
Trying to do stuff with buttons.
True crime. From the future.
Sure. Wow. From the future.
No, you don't get it. Only me.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So I do get it.
So they're watching True Crime from the future, and from that they learn that Leslie Bison is going to win this governor's race, and so they have to kill a family.
Yeah,
makes sense.
It was bad, man.
They needed to make the girl eat the poo chunk, and turn her into a scarecrow from Batman Begins.
I should mention that if you're an attention to detail kind of person, which you do have to be if you're a horror movie podcast like us, you watch all the way through the credits to the very end to see if there's anything at the end. And with this movie, there was big payout, leaving it open to a sequel. Kinda.
That's right. What did they do? I don't even remember now. What was the teaser?
I can't remember either. I do know that it was there, though, so stick around. Watch the end of this one.
Get ready for Dead Night 2.
Ugh. What do you think for the next movie we should do?
There's a bunch of stuff coming out August 10th.
Oh, yeah.
That's a little ways away, but
yeah,
I think the release schedule, we're supposed to release something on August 10th. If we're going to do it bi-weekly, maybe we'll make them wait a day. Ooh. Make our loyal followers get a whopping 20 downloads so far.
Hey, that's pretty good. We only have 2 episodes and been up for like a week or 2.
We could guess who's listened to us so far. The 5 people that have told us, and the 15 people on Facebook that haven't told us yet.
Yeah, if you guys want anything, or if you want to interface with us at all, we're excited about that. And just anything you got, please send it our way, because we want to know what you want to see. Oh, Slenderman, that's coming out. Oh, the Meg. Oh, okay, all right. I'm getting excited. So, the Meg is about Megalodon shark. It looks like Deep Blue Sea. But
bigger.
Now wait for it. This is the exact pitch. Okay, you guys remember Deep Blue Sea? Samuel L. Jackson. You remember that? It's pretty good, right?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, but the audiences loved it.
There's one thing that was wrong.
Played on cable. There's
only one thing wrong with Deep Blue Sea.
What?
The size of the shark.
Yeah. That's why we got coming to you in theaters August 10th, The Meg. This thing's like 4 times the size of that other shark. And then there's Slender Man, which I don't know how I feel about that too much, but
I'm sure it'll be bad.
But it couldn't be worse than this. So there's that. That's kind of nice. Looks like.
Yeah, well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
To be determined. So we wanted to play a game. and we'll have to come up with it extemporaneously. But we wanted to come up with taglines for Dead Night.
Yeah.
So
we got to come up. We got to come up with a
jingle.
Well, first of all, we got to come up with the name of the game, right? So the idea is, Bryce comes up with a few taglines for the movie that we watch. I come up with a few taglines for the movie that we watch, and then we just kind of, we decide which one's the winner. So it needs to name like Tag Your It or like
Tag It.
And
then we got to come up with
up with a jingle for it.
Yeah.
Which should be fun. So
Tag it.
The wheezing laugh echo on the tail end of that. Yeah. So basically, tell us what you want us to review. If it's an older movie, let us know. Also got a blog section that went up today, so that we can cover news and stuff like that. That's stuff that's coming down the pipe, and yeah.
So you don't want to do Tag It? You don't want to try to come up with a couple of taglines?
Couple of taglines, like on the spot?
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I don't know that I'm that quick. Are you quick enough to come up with?
I've got at least one chambered.
Well, let's hear it.
This means something. This is important.
This means something. This is important.
Yeah, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh no.
The pile of poop.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now I get it. Yeah, I'm not quick enough to come up with.
It's okay. We'll edit out the silence.
Oh, okay.
We'll act like we're really quick.
You see, the danger here is that you do the editing, so you're just gonna leave the silence
right.
in and all my cursing and stuff.
Mm. This is good pod.
Good pod. Dead inside. We gotta do
Dead
something.
inside. That's what the movie makes you feel.
Yeah. How's this movie make you feel? Dead. No. You gotta cut this stuff out too.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
How about just The Witch 2?
Did my blank fucking expression sum up my...
It'd be just one of those straight to video, like it's a sequel that's made 30 years later and has absolutely no relation to it. It's like Blair Witch 2. Did you ever see Blair Witch 2?
I don't think so.
Oh my god. Had nothing to do with Blair Witch.
How could anything have anything to do with Blair Witch?
Blair Witch 3 did have something to do with Blair Witch, apparently. It was
really?
Mostly like a soft reboot.
What was Blair Witch 2, if not about Blair Witch?
I don't even remember. I don't even remember. They went in the woods, and I remember there was a creepy, like, factory somewhere. They mention the kids lost in the first movie. Maybe they were trying to explore about it. It was bad. Maybe we should watch Blair Witch 2 next time.
It was an early time in found footage. They didn't know what they were doing with the first, and they sure as hell didn't know what they were trying to recreate with the second.
The second one wasn't even found footage, I don't think.
What?
Yeah, I don't remember it being like significantly found footage.
Weird.
Yeah.
And the third one, though, decent? There was a third?
Yeah, it was a third movie, but I think they just called it Blair Witch again. Oh. Yeah.
This thing where they reboot movies that either don't need to be rebooted or they reboot them in such an alarmingly different way, it bothers me to no end. And the best example of it is Evil Dead. The most recent Evil Dead that came out in like 2013 or 14 or whatever it was. Oh my God. Like it's like a journey through hell. It captures none of the levity or none of the fun, none of the stop motion. Oh, it is fucking rough.
I mean, you're pretty screwed if you're gonna remake a classic movie, because it's either the one route or the other. It's either you do the remake of Psycho, which is shot for shot and they just
You don't
add
mess
a little
with it.
bit. They add a little masturbation,
Too scared to mess with it.
like that's more obvious than the original, and it's like, well, this was unnecessary. It's the exact same thing, and the first one was still better because it was a better thing. And or you remake it and change something, and it's like, why? That was the best part.
Yeah.
Whoever that was a fan of it's not going to like it.
The weirdest part of it to me was, and the thing that got me so amped for the movie is, first of all, Evil Dead was like one of the first horror movies that I ever saw, and I loved it to death. And I mean, Evil Dead 2 is, I think, quite possible. Like it's probably top 3 for me. And their whole thing going into the remake was, we are trying to capture the heart of Evil Dead. And then it was like, it was raining blood in that movie. I'm talking like dark. It was like an overcast sky in a thunderstorm, raining blood for 30 minutes. and it was alarming. Like that movie went dark. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love dark as much as the next guy. It just wasn't Evil Dead. It was something else. Anywho, you guys...
We're going way off track.
Yeah, way off track.
So none of this is making it into the pod.
Okay. Oh, well, none
Unless
of
you got
the Evil
another
Dead
tag.
stuff?
Oh, we'll talk about Evil Dead.
Oh.
All right, so thank you for listening to Horror Movie Talk. Want to give a couple plugs again at the bottom of the show. Go to horrormovietalk.com and you can find old episodes. You can read our blog, and you can find links to subscribe on your favorite podcast provider. Also, like us on our social media. We're active on Facebook and Twitter. Nothing's really happening on Instagram or YouTube, but like us anyways. You know what I really want? I want to get 100 subscribers on YouTube so that we can claim the URL.
What?
The vanity URL. You can't change. You can't claim a URL until you get 100 subscribers.
Oh, I like it.
So, challenge friends, family, countrymen, Romans.
Yeah, share it if you can. I know it's embarrassing to share this kind of stuff on social media.
Maybe share the last episode, not this one.
Yeah, share Unfriended Dark Web.
Yeah, and share
or
on
this
friends.
one. If this one was fun, share this one. I don't know.
Right. Okay, so wrapping it up. Don't see this movie.
I paid $7 for this damn movie.
Don't pay $7 to rent this on Amazon Prime. You will regret it.
Yeah, big time. Unless you love watching terrible horror movies, then this is serviceable.
Yeah. Even then.
Then.
You can wait a couple months. It'll be free. In a couple months, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Or just off, or it'll just vanish into the sands of time.
Poor Barbara Crampton. What are you doing?
Hey, man. She cashed a paycheck.
I guess.
She's fine. She's happy.
What are they paying her with? Coffee?
Big heaping cups of milk. Slow poured cups of milk.
Slow poured cup of milk. Give me some of that milk.
On that note,